What's going on, guys? It's Brian,
And Jennifer.
and we are back for another 25 Days of Disney.
And
And
Merry
today we're
Christmas Eve. It's
Merry
Christmas
Christmas Eve,
Eve.
and we are talking about the final episode of Hawkeye.
Yes, let's
So,
do this.
in the last episode, they showed Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, and they actually had him in here for the beginning of it and the end of it, which is very nice to see. They had him in here for a good little bit of it, but the main, honestly, the main part of this whole finale was basically Kate Bishop. She was in most, if not, she was in most of all the scenes except for the last fighting scenes.
I would say that she was close to being in every single scene. Yeah.
You find out, so again, spoilers before we get into it.
Well, this is the other thing, though. There's things that I want to say that also has to deal with Spider-Man. So, like, I don't know, like, it's
maybe leave that for the.
I don't think it's not going to spoil a bunch of stuff with Spider-Man, what I'm going to say. So,
Okay, so I mean, we can still say it then. What
am I going to say?
Well, we you can still say it.
Okay.
If it's not going to spoil Spider-Man that much.
No.
Because spoiler, tomorrow's episode of 20 Days Disney is going to be the Spider-Man review, which we're super excited to talk about.
Yes, on Christmas Day.
Yep, Christmas Day. It's a very nice Christmas present for everybody. This is, so we find out that Kate Bishop's mom is working for the Kingpin. She was brought in because her father owed him a lot of money.
See, I kept wondering if there was really more to Kate's dad.
Oh, there
honestly
probably is.
Like stuff that was going on, and just like that, the way I'm like, with her, with being with Marvel, there needs to be some other tie. So of course, and like you said, we found out that her dad, the one that passed away, owed like a crap ton of money to him, to Kingpin. Yeah. And then the mom got wrapped up into it and got in a whole bunch of deep shit.
So I was super excited. I've actually, like we said last time about the Hawkeye television show, is that I've been watching a lot of Daredevil as well, the Netflix series, which if it comes down to it, well, I'll talk about the Netflix series next year, especially if what they're doing is they're bringing in all the Netflix characters now into the MCU. So next year for 20 Days of Disney, we can definitely do something like that, but I won't get into it. But it's nice to see Vincent D'Onofrio finally back into his role, and he looks good playing Kingpin again. He looks intimidating, but he also looks very much like the comic book character.
And I could see that being your Halloween costume next year.
Oh, I could definitely.
I stopped that immediately. I was like, "Oh, Brian's probably going to do that next year."
one of my friends, he said, "Man, just shave again, and go completely bald. Shave your head, and get a cane and a white suit, and you're Kingpin." I'm like, "Oh, I could definitely be."
Yes.
So. We get him. It's awesome to see him. He's always been intimidating. And what's funny is that he's a big dude, but they actually make him like stand on boxes and do perspective shots where he looks much taller than a lot of other people. So because the Kingpin in the comics, he's like 7'5".
Oh,
and he can. And in the comics, he can literally cry. He can put both hands around Spider-Man's head and make it look like a softball.
Is this the person that you were saying that you
I want to see them crush Peter Parker's head?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
So we do that, but then we get into what's going to be the final act of Hawkeye. We get them coming up with a plan.
Yes. making all
they
those
start making.
trick arrows. Oh my God. I actually rewound the scene and watched it again just to see them interacting. I love
Mhm.
the really old labeler she was
Yeah,
using. And
the
the
label maker.
Stark, all
Mhm.
the whole case with all the Stark like weapon heads and stuff.
Yep.
And then they
And
had
then
another thing from Pym.
mhm.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the Pym one, especially coming up later. Um,
I laughed so
brutal.
hard.
um, so they're going to a Christmas party
Mhm.
with Kate's mom. I think her name is Elena. No, that no. Is it Eleanor? It's something like
Eleanor. I think it's
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
I think so, because Yelena's in this as well.
Yeah.
Um, so they're going to this Christmas party, and they have the LARPers, the cops who are also LARPers in disguise to keep track of everybody, which is awesome. They're probably, honestly, out of everybody in the series, they're probably my favorite characters just because of how nice they are.
What was the line that Clint said when he saw them all come outside? Like, did he say we're doomed or something?
Oh
Like
yeah,
he
we're
just
all.
sees them.
He's like we're all. I think he said we're all gonna die. I think it's something like that. He's like, are you
They're
like
gonna
I'm gonna.
help police everybody, and they in their suits for them helping cater the party to help Kate and Clint. They're like,
Mhm.
well, okay, you guys are gonna be wearing these suits. That's not gonna do it for you. So you need to change in your cosplay LARPing stuff, but that still
Yeah,
doesn't do anything for
yeah. It makes it a lot of other people because they're seeing these guys in these costumes. They're like, oh, okay, well, we might want to listen to these people, or we might just want to run away. Um,
Mhm.
a big action sequence. The rest of this episode is just a giant action sequence.
Mhm.
There's literally no time taken for like any sort of dialogue. Really, it's like more along the lines of like, Kate, go this way. Uh, Clint, go this way.
Mhm.
We need you guys to protect. Then we find out that the swordsman, the Jack, who was arrested in the last episode, was actually framed by Eleanor.
Yeah.
So that was a huge. So I didn't expect that. I don't know anything about the swordsman
Mhm.
from Marvel because apparently he is an actual like superhero in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
Um, but he basically all he does is he knows how to use swords really well, and he shows that too.
Mhm.
He fences with a lot of people and stabs them
He
and stuff like
helps.
that. He does, and he turns out to be a good guy. Didn't see it coming.
Well,
Um,
I will admit, when we were learning kind of that the mom has been doing a bunch of shady stuff,
mhm.
it really kind of in my head was pointing towards that maybe the mom really was the person who murdered her fiance's dad.
Well, she was. She said that that she killed him.
Right. But I
Yeah.
meant beforehand. So to me, that
Oh,
was
okay,
not a
gotcha.
shock. I saw that coming.
See, I didn't see it coming. I still thought that he had something to do with it, but I mean, I was proven wrong. That shows that all my knowledge about Marvel isn't completely correct. So, um, he helps out. The LARPers are helping out. The one female LARPer, she knocks somebody out with the freaking with like the what are those things where they're making lines for people to walk through, like
Oh, the
at amusement
stat, they call it
parks.
a stanchion, or I forget what they call it. Yeah.
It's the thing that makes the lines, and I think she grabbed one of them and hit one of the tracksuit mafia guys.
And she's like,
I'm pretty sure.
whoa.
Yeah, if he's not dead, he's severely concussed. So
Uh-huh.
um, they get to use the trick arrows, and well, Hawkeye, he ends up getting stuck in the Rockefeller Center tree, and
Yeah.
there's a cute little owl.
Yes. It was so
Um,
adorable.
and while that's happening, Kate and Yelena are having a fight to try to stop Yelena from killing Clint.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really cool long shot because they go from office to office. There's a lot of gimmicks that they use in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can tell how much that Yelena and Kate Bishop like each other.
Yeah. And I really like, honestly, that they were doing it that way and kind of like how what was going on when Yelena broke into her Kate's apartment with the whole macaroni and cheese scene, they just go really well together because of their personalities and like they're very
Oh
witty
yeah.
with each other. So they could just throw stuff back and forth all
Mhm.
day. And because of stuff like that, people are like, can you just give those to a TV show? Like, I
Oh
want to
yeah.
see those two.
Well, the thing is that their relationship, like 100% mirrors Natasha and Clint,
Mm-hmm.
because they're witty. They talk to each other. They're actually fairly nice to each other, except for when they're beating each other up. I mean, just look back at the airport fight in Civil War when Clint and Natasha were fighting each other. They were they were pulling their punches. They were still showing that they'd be in business, but they weren't
Mm-hmm.
trying to hurt each other, which is exactly what Yelena and Kate Bishop were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see. Now I read something that said that Florence Pugh won't be in any Avengers movies. I
Well,
read that
that's
somewhere.
yeah. If that does
Yeah.
become true, that's a disappointment because I feel like she really adds to it.
Oh yeah. I think what they'll do is they'll probably keep her in like the small screen now if she
Mm-hmm.
continues the, because I can definitely see a Black Widow TV show, but it'd be her
Mm-hmm.
instead of Natasha, obviously. Um, but so Kate has to get Hawkeye down, and and she shoots down the tree, which you never really realize how big trees are until they're on the ground
Yeah.
when they're covering the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have this huge firefight with these arrows that are all trick arrows. There's smoke grenade arrows,
That was awesome. It
regular
really
explosions,
was.
a magnetized arrow where all their guns get sucked up. And
That
that was
was
one of these.
great.
Oh yeah, that was one of the smartest things I've ever seen. Clint shoots the shoots the flagpoles and makes them all magnetized, so that way all the guns can't come through.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly smart, and this makes me like Hawkeye. Like this makes me actually like Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Um,
I can't remember if it was during these scenes, um, he actually does call Kate his partner.
mhm.
And I really liked that because it was like a turning of the characters in a way. Like he is changing. And
Yeah,
then he also tells to Kate, give them hell. And the
yeah,
only time he's ever said that is with Natasha.
yeah,
I forget which Avengers movie it was, but he said, give him hell. And that's when he pushes, he's driving the plane and she pops out with the motorcycle and zooms off.
yeah. It was that must have been Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah. The he. So here's the thing: Hawkeye was never an unlikable character, but for me, he was a boring character.
Mm.
Um, because with Natasha, they gave her other stories to be in. The only other story that Hawkeye was in was was Thor, and was the first Thor because he was up in the thing just saying like, oh, I like this guy, I hope he wins and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm starting to root for this guy, whatever. And the other one was Civil War, which is already after two Avengers movies. We
Mm-hmm.
never really got too much of Hawkeye, so he was kind of a push him off to the side when he got saved by Quicksilver was cool, but then when we got Ronan, we started getting a little bit more fun out of him
Mm-hmm.
or a little bit more character out of him. Now we're finally getting the good stuff out of him. They're letting Jeremy Renner act. They're letting Jeremy Renner be comedic at times, and they're letting him be the superhero that for a lot of people never really hit too far home. Now again, there's always the fans, there's always the diehard fans of Hawkeye. I remember saying that at one of the free comic days. I'm like, man, nobody really cares about Hawkeye, and some girl got really offended and walked away because she had a Hawkeye bag.
Oh my God.
Which I'm sorry, I at that point I really didn't care about Hawkeye, and he's still probably not one of my favorite Avengers, but I mean he's cool. I like his show.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so with this fight, they have a Pym arrow again, but instead of it being an large arrow, it's a shrink arrow,
Yes.
and they, they shrink a truck with some of the tracksuit mafia. You can hear them. You can hear them, and Kate goes, "What do we do now?" And he goes, "I don't know. I have to talk to Scott about this." And all of a sudden, you see an owl. I forgot to mention in the tree there was a little cute little owl.
Weird. Yeah, you said
Adorable.
it. You said there's an owl in
Did
the
I say
tree
it?
with him. Yeah, you did.
Okay. Well, there's just in case there's an owl in the tree. Cute little. It looks like Hedwig from Harry Potter, kind of.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, it swoops down and takes the truck and carries it away. I'm like, did they just
That
kill?
was so funny.
They just fed those. They just fed them to birds. Those they just fed them to raptors. Oh my god.
It
Then we
was
get the
great though to hear Clint actually bring up another person's name, right? Him
Mhm.
saying Scott, because he's brought up Natasha and of course his
Yeah.
wife's name, but he doesn't like bring up anyone else's name. So just hearing him say Scott, I don't know. I felt like that was kind of cool, just like putting that in there.
It connects the universe more.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get the final. As there's two main battles. There is Yelena versus Clint, and then there is Kate versus Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the Netflix shows with Kingpin, they make him horribly brutal. Like he'll slam, like he got him. There's a thing that if you watched it, he gets embarrassed in front of a love interest, and the way he takes care of the guy that embarrassed him is slamming his head into a car door like at least 15 times,
Dang.
and it decapitates the guy. He's gone. Um, slams his head into it, and you see the body just drop without a head and just blood drip down. I'm both glad that we didn't see that brutality in this because you don't want to see him do that bad stuff to Kate Bishop. I'm also a little sad because for fans of that Netflix show and especially of fans of the Vincent D'Onofrio um, character,
Mm-hmm.
he is that's what they got used to. He's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So that fight didn't really get me. I mean, I like what Kate did to beat him, and then his mom, her mom crashing through the toy store wall to
Mm-hmm.
whoop his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Yelena versus Clint was a lot different.
Yeah.
That stole the show for me because you got to see the emotion from Hawkeye, who's been carrying this emotion ever since Natasha died.
Well,
You
same
see
with
the
Elena.
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You see the emotion from Yelena because she doesn't really know what to believe. She has
Mm-hmm.
no idea what to believe because um he keeps telling her that she sacrificed himself, but he's been told before, or she's been told before, that he killed her. So there's this ongoing, not only a physical battle because they are beating the hell out of each other in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's this mental battle because he knows what really happened, just like the rest of the audience does. She has no clue because she was gone.
Mm-hmm. And that's why he
So
kept saying, "You're not going to believe me if I told you,"
yeah,
especially the way her rage was. But it was when Yelena did the whistle and Clint did it back, it like broke
yeah,
her down. Like,
oh
how?
yeah. So
Because she probably only thought that that was between her and her sister, like that was a special thing. And then knowing he knows that too, like, I feel like then she could trust him. Something as
oh yeah,
simple as that, she knew that she could break down and actually listen to him, hear what he has to say, and that he was telling the truth that she sacrificed herself. And it's not like, well, someone killed her.
yeah. It's very much like you because you going through this with him, especially like I said before, the first two episodes of this series, I really don't care about. I'm sure now that I know what's going to go through, I'm probably going to like it a little bit more. But I truly don't care
Probably.
about two episodes. Um, when you get to the third episode, when he starts getting a little bit more emotional and understanding what's going on with Natasha and understanding what's going on, like he really can't get back to his family yet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sad, and you see him start really showing emotion because in the first couple episodes he really wasn't he was showing emotion with his kids. He was showing happiness with his kids. But
Mhm.
after that, he turned into stone-faced soldier again.
Yeah.
And you really didn't get to see much out of him after that.
Mhm.
So going into having him show emotion and having him show that he's more than just arrows and stone face, because Jeremy Renner probably has the best poker face out of all the Avengers. Like without a doubt, he can be
Yeah.
stone face like crazy. Um, Now they're letting him act. They're letting him show that it is that you get with me, at least when I watch this, I can see the wear and tear that had on him once he found out that the Ronin outfit was still around.
Mhm.
And you could see how it tears him apart throughout the entire series until at the end when he burns the Ronin outfit. So
Yeah.
there's a happy ending for Hawkeye and Kate Bishop.
Mhm. I love
They're
so much that they went to his house.
for Christmas,
It
yeah.
was so much like Civil War was when they went there, right? With
No,
everyone.
was that was Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh, that was Age of Ultron. Okay, so yeah, Age of Ultron. Sorry, that's when they went there, and I just thought that was special because, like, look, now she doesn't have anybody, and he
Yeah.
trusted her enough to bring her back to this
Oh,
place that no one like. Look, no one from the Avengers knew it even existed. He had a family and stuff.
by the way, Kate's mom gets arrested. That's why she said that.
Oh yeah.
So Kate's mom gets arrested, and Kate does it, which is the huge heartbreaker of the fun finale.
Mm-hmm.
But no, and then we get to see that they don't officially say that Clint's wife is Mockingbird, but she is an agent of Shield
Because they
because the
hand the
watch.
watch over, we got to see the back.
Yep.
And people are saying from the number 19 on there, it does mean that she's Mockingbird.
I'm sure, but they of course Marvel's just like, oh well, you kind of get you kind of know, but you really don't know. We're not gonna say it. We're not gonna say it out loud until
Yeah.
probably so. They do all this cool stuff. They burn the dogs there. Thank God. The one-eyed dog, which is
And now they call him
amazing.
Lucky.
I thought here's the thing, I thought he was gonna be more of a thing in the TV show. He really wasn't. I mean, it was nice to see him whenever we could, but
Yeah. We gotta walk the dog. It was like that inside joke that kept happening.
um he burns the Ronin outfit, and that is the close to season one. Except we get a post-credit scene.
That was ridiculous.
The only thing that was stupider than this post-credit scene was the end credit scene of Spider-Man Homecoming when Captain America comes out and says, "Patience. Sometimes you don't always get what you want," and then he's like, "How many more of these do I have to do?" And
People
this
are
is
really wondering if Marvel, like, not saying the Rogers musical, but they're wondering if they're actually going to write some other type of musical for Marvel because of all the success with Agatha all along with the songs. Like, they better make it good and not cheesy and corny because what we saw on there, I don't know. Like, that was like so corny and like what the hell?
so. Here's the thing. Here's what I think they were actually doing. I
Mm-hmm.
think they were making fun of the Spider-Man musical. It was the big.
Oh, wait,
So
oh, I forgot there was a Spider-Man
it's
musical.
the biggest Broadway disaster of all time.
So that's what you think they were doing, poking fun at that. See, you're the first person I ever heard
Yeah,
say that. Wow.
that's what I think they were doing. Again, I could be completely wrong. I have no idea.
People said
But
they
I
should have had um Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie in the audience, and they should have gotten up
that
and
would be cool.
left.
But I think they're making fun of the Spider-Man musical because they do the whole number that when Hawkeye and his kids are in the theater,
I can do this
they
all
show the
day.
whole number from beginning to end. I can do this all day. Which so here's what I read, and I could be real, it could be wrong. they had another post-credit scene showing that Kingpin was all right.
Oh.
And Hawkeye giving him like a letter or shooting an arrow near him. To we didn't even talk about Maya. Maya left the Maya. Okay, so we'll just do it really quickly. Maya leaves the Tracksuit Mafia, and Kingpin sets out the Tracksuit Mafia to kill Maya. And she ends up shooting Kingpin. He's probably gonna be the villain for Echo in the next one. But there is supposedly another scene where Kingpin is okay. He's hurt, but he's okay, which means he's going to come back. They obviously cut that so that it can be a surprise. People think he's dead. That's the whole thing. Which, if that is true, and if he is dead, I don't know if I'll watch another season of any sort of Marvel show. If you're going to get rid of one of the biggest players, biggest villains in Marvel history, especially when he first comes into the MCU like this, nah. I'll be so mad. I'll watch.
That's a little. I feel like that's kind of dramatic, Brian.
No, especially when it's Vincent D'Onofrio, who has played him so well. Watch the Daredevil shows on Netflix, Jennifer, and you'll see why I get so and why I'd be in such an uproar if this was true. He is amazing, and if they get rid of him that quickly, just like that, nah. That'll be my own personal blip.
Oh God. Well, there's a few things I do want to talk about when it comes to like the Rockefeller tree and some of that. Today I was reading an article about how they actually did it, because they're like, well, you can't just freaking knock the Rockefeller tree down in New York. So they said in 2020 they filmed some scenes there, and then they reset up the area on like a sound stage or something, probably in Georgia, because Georgia is like Atlanta's where they film like a ton of
it's cheap
their stuff. And Kevin Feige, they were talking about this too with Spider-Man, that it's very unique in Atlanta, Georgia, because there's so many sound stages and so much stuff that they are able to use, that's why everything's done there, and you never would know that like they're not in New York. So when they were filming a lot of this, it's so deceiving that you think that you're actually there, but you're not. So that was one thing with the Rockefeller tree. The other thing is, so we had a discussion at the end of last episode wondering if Spider-Man was going to show up in this one, or when Hawkeye is taking place compared to Spider-Man. So this isn't spoiling anything, but at the end of Spider-Man, they show him by the Rockefeller tree. He's swinging around. And so with that Rockefeller tree still being up, it did not get knocked down. It makes you wonder if that took place several weeks prior to Hawkeye, because Hawkeye, the tree was not disturbed yet at the very beginning, but then at the end, of course, they knock it down. But you don't know, it could be in a totally different like year when they were technically saying it took place. So I don't know, that was my little.
So I could probably guess that, because Spider-Man, and we'll get more into it in tomorrow's video. Spider-Man takes place basically right after Halloween and right before December. Because you can always tell when they're trying to do fall in movies. Everything's orange, it has yellow hues to it, all that stuff. And there's a lot of that in Spider-Man. They were also doing that, and we'll get more into it, to kind of pay homage to the first Spider-Man movies, because they were always color corrected to be kind of yellow for the posters and stuff like that. But we'll get more into that. So if I had to guess, this Spider-Man took place before Hawkeye. So they were smart to put out Spider-Man first for these huge Marvel fans before the season finale of Hawkeye. I'm sorry. Yes, that is correct. I'm sorry. So put on that huge movie until the end, where because this is the end of Thanksgiving, fall, and we get to see Spider-Man swing through New York a little bit at the end when it's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Hawkeye end it with Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I could probably believe that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
see, I didn't
tell us,
spoil anything.
no,
Like...
tell us what you think. How much did you like this series? How much did you dislike this series? Let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, comment, subscribe. Uh, definitely tell us if you think Kingpin's going to survive. Let us know if we're going to see Yelena again in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think of them letting a owl take 3 people into the sky, not knowing what the hell's going to happen to them? So
Yeah.
we'll see you tomorrow for the final day of 25 Days of Disney.
Mm-hmm. And it will be
Yep.
Christmas tomorrow. And so again, Merry Christmas Eve.
Yep. Merry Christmas Eve.